I've definitely had a few tries put on me.
And on that note, we'll go back to our commentary team. Brian Noble, Jonathan Davis and Dave Woods.
Thank you, Mark. Kevin Sinfield about to get us underway in this second half, and the way this group works and the likely results in this group, I don't think points difference is ever going to be an issue in terms of where you qualify, but what is going to be an issue is England again building on this confidence and building on this form, isn't it, in the second half now?
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think Ireland's strategy will change slightly. I think this wind is going with them. If we look at our screens, it's blowing from in the main from left to right, and they need to use that and probably rely on something that's let them down in the first stanza and pick up their defence a little bit and try and restrict the territory of England.
Yeah, they've got to use the wind now, Ireland. Complete the sets, get a good kick and a good chase. You know, just stop England from playing.
Well, they got a penalty here. There's an encouragement for the other side in green right at the second half. And James Graham, I think, has said something to the referee because he's pointing to his lips there. Let's hear what he has to say. Well, he called out Kevin Sinfield there to say, look, that fella there with the ginger hairs just said something to me that I don't like, so I'm going to give Ireland a penalty.
Yeah, well, the next step's an ASBO for James Graham, so he needs to keep his mouth shut.
Pardon my French, quite literally, from James Graham's point of view. Here comes the drive from Luke Ambler, as Ireland find themselves in a decent position at the start of this half. Beswick's the man at dummy half. It's Antti Mullally who tries to push his way through that very eager England defence. Beswick again now. Good start here for Ireland. Liam Finn is trying to time the pass to the very last minute to try and fox those England defenders. It doesn't work. And Ireland, with still tackles to go, still have an opportunity here, because Jason will have a go. 5 away, 4 tackles gone. Ireland looking for a real boost here if they can. Beswick again, dummies left, goes right, but just a little bit laboured enough for the England defenders to respond and make sure it's wrapped up neatly and nicely. Because Jason kicks it to the in-goal area, it rattles around, and Ryan Hall touches down for the 4th time today, but this one in his own in-goal area and concedes the dropout underneath. So it's a penalty anyway, penalty for offside. Let's hear from Tanya. What's been said at half-time, Tanya?
Well, not surprisingly, Steve McNamara pretty happy. He's saying happy with the attack. We've got to keep our shape. The quality of skill level was good. The decision-making was good. He wants more of that in the second half. But he also wants a bit more speed in defence. He has said to his side, though, no silly lapses, no fighting, etc. He wants everybody available next week. They have, though, been working on George Bezos' right knee. It is quite strapped up. As for Mark Aston, he said, don't feel sorry for yourselves. That half's gone. We've got to respect the ball, up our completion rate and tighten up our defence.
It's the old cliche, isn't it? Play as though it's a clean sheet at the start of the second half. Let's win the half. Let's win the half. But England have similar intentions here. And Tom Burgess rolls it forward. Mark Aston looks glumly on. Left to chase.
It's a tough World Cup so far for Ireland.
Here's Ferres, who's been galloping down that channel a lot this season in Huddersfield colours. It's back to Rangi Chase. Trying to get a little under the defender pass going there, but covered up easily enough by Beswick. Roby. Sinfield offering it on for the charge of Tom Burgess. And here comes the last. Roby again. Sinfield kicks back to where it came from. Up go the Leaps. Blanche is up there, but Cudjoe knocks it back. It's kept alive to Rangi Chase. Chase with his clever handling and very nearly foxing the Irish defence. Well, that's the kind of stuff we see him do for Castleford week in, week out, and the first real glimpse in England colours.
Yeah, I think he foxed himself in the end there. I think he was over the line. If you recognise this, because he bamboozles everybody, he's through. Just go for the line, dive for the line. You have to say a good defensive effort.
It's a good tackle.
Bit of the Tommy Coopers in the end, wasn't it? Not just like that. He's one of yours next year as well, isn't he?
Tommy Cooper?
No, Rangi Chase. You might need Tommy Cooper next year.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Good confidence.
That's okay. Brian Noble in charge of the Salford Red Devil Revolution next year. With all the money they've spent, all the big names they brought in. It's an exciting year, isn't it? Exciting.
Can't wait.
Here come the Irish. Beswick out of dummy half.
He's made a difference as Bob Beswick since he's been there. Costigan playing on the fringes a little bit more. A good player that he is.
Playing in the Championship at the moment, isn't he? Beswick with Lee Centurions, but a lot of Super League experience at Wigan and Widnes. That kick's too big.
That just shows how strong that wind is. That was a massive kick. Massive kick.
That's just been reported as a satellite.
Right in the middle.
I think he's had a giggle about it.
Even he can grin. Taken back by Cudjoe. Roby at dummy half. Graham's waiting here. Here comes James Graham.
I think this one. I think England need to raise their performance. You know, they're a little bit lethargic at the moment. You know,
They're winning 30 points to nil, Jiffy.
hey, they're winning 30 points to nil against Ireland. They won't be winning 30 points to nil against New Zealand in the semi-final, and that's what's crucial.
Here comes Tompkins to chime in again.
They've got to push themselves now.
Always offers that threat, doesn't he? But he's lost possession here. And Pat Richards looks in a bad way as well. He's kept his head to the ground.
Because he was shouting about knock on.
James Graham's still trying to find out from Thierry Alibert what he penalised him for before.
Well, I hope it keeps the question clean. Pat Richards just a little bit dazed. Check of the upper cheekbone to make sure everything's intact. It is, so he can carry on.
Looks like he's got a finger in the eye there, doesn't he?
Over 200 games at Wigan. Pat Richards, 160 tries in that time as well. He has been a real star in Cherry and White. This is Pefarangi. Here's Besic at dummy half, Ireland. On that fringe of the England half as they try to take themselves forward again.
Conditions are getting worse. The wind's really swirling now. But the rain has kept away.
Ambler, an eager and willing runner. Besic, here's Finn. Finn now up to the line. Back it goes to Kostjason, and a step by Littler. And Littler trying to force his way through. Besic. Finn. England ready and waiting in their defensive line here, just soaking up these Irish efforts time after time. So here comes the last, and Finn again will put the kick to the corner. It bounces awkwardly, but into the hands in the end of Sam Tompkins.
They're playing the game in the right area, but Mark Aston, who's a shrewd scrum half, you know, be disappointed with that kind of completes the kick on the last.
It's a fair carry from Briscoe. He's carried that from his own 5-metre line and ended up on the 35. He's a strong boy.
Coming on number 8, Chris Hill, number 12, Ben Westwood.
Roby's the man at dummy half as England look to set rolling again here. Westwood. And tell us about Ben Westwood, Brian Noble, because he's another one who really adds an X factor to this England side, isn't he?
I think he's tough. I think he's aggressive. He's often accused of being overly aggressive at some times, but his skill levels are high. He's one of those players that there's a little bit of a fear factor when teams play him because he's very aggressive.
Rangi Chase is going to put it high. Mendeka, the youngster underneath it, has caught it safely enough despite the chase here of Carl Ablett, and runs it away.
It's a good take now because the ball is going away from him. He had to judge it very, very well. Good chase by England. In total control of this game, they're slowing the play of the ball. You know, they're just dominating possession. Ireland have got a little bit of field possession, but as I said, it's now about their performance and picking their game up, picking the tempo up, working their defensive structures.
Pefarangi just before the halfway. Ireland with one tackle left now after this. There's Neil Fox, by the way, the great Neil Fox, MBE, the record points holder in rugby league, 6,220 points. Neil Fox, what about that? Kick for Sam Tompkins. Tompkins will collect and runs it back to the 20-metre line, and he's going to be tackled.
The other fact from Neil Fox that I found out about the dinner that we had yesterday evening was over 800 games of rugby league there.
Well,
800.
Just take you through a few stats on Neil Fox in just a minute. Here comes Cudjoe. Now it's Ryan Hall. Hall's going to be tackled. Hold that thought. Penalty here for England. So just before this penalty's taken, 6,220 points. If anyone wants to break that record, they'd have to play for 20 years, and every year they'd have to play 30 games, and in every one of those games they'd have to score 10 points. And if you did that, you'd still be 220 points short of his record. That's how phenomenal that is.
My fact's better than yours. Over 800 games.
That's incredible.
Neil Fox, MBE, is in the Hall of Fame, the Rugby League Hall of Fame.
If there were 2 Hall of Fames, it'd be in both with the amount of games he played.
And the amount of points he scored as well.
Incredible player, person.
Here's Roby, up from dummy half. Rangi Chase now trying to bring them on, and England looking to find that Irish juggler again if they can here.
Yeah, pick a tempo up now, pick the tempo up.
Roby back to Graham. Graham hard into that, but he can't wrestle himself away from those 2 defenders. Roby now. Many to the left, including Rangi Chase, the magician on times. Off to Ferrez. Not given much chance of making the break there. It's Roby. Now it's Chase. This is Hill. Hill looking to slip one out of the back door. Roby picks it up now and back to Sinfield, and Sinfield with a kick straight into the hands there. Straight into the hands of Ben Curry. So it's not quite zipping in this second half, is it? Not quite zipping.
Just a bit scruffy finish there for England. You know, that's where they need to roll the ball into the in goal and get the ball back to show their prowess and their physical strength and their dominance in this game.
Here's Bezic. Bob Bezic, the rain's coming down pretty hard at the moment.
I thought I mentioned there was no rain. It's horrendous conditions now, you know, it's dreadful conditions, so it's going to be very, very difficult to keep the ball, you know, without the big hits. It's dreadful conditions.
Rangi Chase, who are top tacklers so far today, the two number 9s, James Roby and Rory Costes-Jason, very much the engine rooms in the modern game, aren't they? The number 9s from dummy half, but especially in defence as well. Sinfield out. Here's Graham. Just subtly suggested he might pass the ball before less than subtly slamming into that line. Pulling up his socks now. Here's Carl Ablett to that right-hand side. Watkins searching back on the inside. Good hands here by England. Rangi Chase. Dummies. Bamboozles. Smashed by Littler. Penalty for England.
Yeah, high shot.
Right.
There you go. Does he?
Just high tackle.
Yeah, gets him.
Hammer around the neck.
So here they go again, England, to have another go at this brave Irish line. In the second half, Ireland have kept them out for 12 minutes, but England rolling on. Westwood, though, has knocked it on, and Ireland get the relief of head and feet at the scrum.
Well, they're going to experience these conditions again, so take the opportunity to play in these conditions. It's got to limit the skill of both teams. Both teams will try and keep their shape and do the same things, but if you bend your shoulders in around here, you're going to force some errors.
Talk about a big crowd and the big crowds throughout this tournament. Well, 24,375 packed inside this stadium today. It's a stadium record. They've never had a bigger crowd for either football or rugby league in here.
Good effort.
And they just keep rolling in, don't they, the big crowds throughout this tournament. Perhaps not on the edge of their seats today, but comfortably sitting back, witnessing a very decent England performance. Here's Curry. James Hassan.
That says it all. The meters, total meters there, look. It's dreadful conditions now.
It's windy, it's wet, but it's sunny from an English perspective. Littler down this right-hand side. Blanche looking for a way in. He's not only stopped, he's dragged out of play.
He had absolutely nowhere to go there, Blanche. His face says it all. Look, Littler's going.
Still can't even forgive Stuart Littler for the ball, can he?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Blanche, is that the French pronunciation?
Yeah, he plays in France.
Yes.
He did. He's just quit this year, hasn't
Blanche.
he?
Oh, we'll take him back to Blanche then.
I think my lips are freezing. That's what it is.
Well, I think he's from New South Wales originally, isn't he? And the old South Walian alongside me is getting a bit soft in his old age.
Let's take time.
Rangi Chase. Oh, Sinfield might have been a bit lucky to get away with that. There was a bit of a fumble at the back of the scrum. Sinfield. Ablett. Effort by James Hassan. Just managed to slow him down before the reinforcements came in.
Hold.
I don't know.
Scruffy.
I have no idea what was going on there. I think Simon Finnegan had his hand on him, but
Simon!
I don't know what was going on. I just waiting for something to happen. I don't know what it was.
Gal.
Whether Ablett was injured or...
What was going on?
Well, I presume he's given the penalty in the end, but not square, because they were standing next to each other, weren't they?
Oh, it was, I don't think it was a punch or nothing.
Here comes Graham, solidly taking it forward again. What have you made of his performance today, Brian?
Very solid. Would you say England look a better team with him in the unit? He can play at the line, and he can also carry the ball real tough.
Widdop's on. He just had to hold the line of his run there because Ablett had run beyond him, and if he'd gone past, it would have been a crossing movement.
I think it'd be interesting to see how Widdop goes now as well, because I think he's still got a chance of pushing himself into that side.
We saw this at more or less this stage in the last game, didn't we? Sinfield's gone to 9 now with Roby taking time off the field, so Sinfield in at that dummy half position. Widdop coming in to the halves.
Wait.
Here is Sinfield. This is Graham again. Widdop with a kick towards the corner. Look how much time Briscoe's got for a hat-trick. There's a warning. Puts it back inside instead for Callum Watkins. Sensible option.
That's very, very good play, that is. They bring the defence in, they tighten it up, knowing that they are going to kick over the top. And then Briscoe plays it perfectly. He knows he hasn't got the time to put the ball down and offloads it again. Very clever try, well worked try. That's what they've got to do now.
It's a terrific kick, and it's James Graham, that ability to play at the line with the pass, Widdop with the kick play, Briscoe holding the chalk, as they say, the sideline, and Watkins doing everything that he has to do. Great catch, and a great little inside feed to Watkins. There's the catch, there's the inside feed, there's the finish. Good score.
Well, it has been a really good day for England, hasn't it? You know, it's been an efficient, promising, confident, consummate performance today from England so far.
I think they just had to build their performance off last week. As I said, very good performance last week, just come up short. And now they've just got to build it, because, you know, from here on in, they've got the physical Fijian side, and then looks like New Zealand the semi-final if they win that, so it's not going to get easier.
Well, next week is definitely going to be tasty at Hull. The Sims brothers and Petro Sivanasiva with his swan song in this World Cup. There's some talent in that Fijian side.
You mentioned the other two sets of brothers.
And Uati.
The Millards.
And the Guamas.
The Guamas, yeah. The killer Uati. Well, the kick's been missed by Sinfield.
No, he kicked it. He kicked that. It's a great kick.
Has that gone over?
Well, he concentrated.
Sorry, I thought the flags were waving downwards. I think I was looking at the pom-poms instead of the flags.
Yeah, of course you are.
Great kick from Widdop.
Good play again.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, Kevin Sinfield's fourth kick out of 7, and you all along. And 36 points to nil, England now lead.
And just interestingly for our viewers, O'Loughlin's off the field now. Is that precautionary with the injuries that he's had? I hope so. And Burgess to come in back into the mix. England has some talent in this team.
They've taken on this Irish challenge today, and they have demolished it. The Irish were always likely to come out fighting, but that fighting spirit was diminished very quickly by the quality of this English performance. Here comes Graham.
Worked tirelessly, hasn't he?
He got hurt
I
there.
think James Graham, yeah, he has got hurt.
This is Hill. He is a player you look at very often in a game and you think he's goosed, he's gone. And then next minute he's running 80 yards to make a try-saving tackle. Here's Briscoe. Oh, and the pass inside will be picked up by Tompkins. And juggled. More of the Tommy Coopers there from England. But here comes, oh, and he's still not got it. And cost Jason, I think it is in the end, who drops on it. And have possession back again.
Briscoe burned Pat Richards for speed, didn't he, on the outside?
He did. I think Richards thought it was a lost cause, really. Still a tough World Cup, Pat Richards. Briscoe scored a couple of tries. Uati scored a hat-trick. It's been a tough couple of weeks from after winning the Super League Grand Final.
Bezic bends his back, opposite on the inside for Ambler to have another strong run.
Nice good kick, you know, for the Irish. He'll pick your tails up a little bit.
Here's Tyrone McCarthy, released by Warrington at the end of this last Super League season, and out goes Bob Bezic to kick from dummy half and rolls it out of play, just taking England back to their 20-metre mark. But England do, all things being equal, get the ball back here. A roller coaster ride for Irish Rugby League, hasn't it, over the years? They only played their first international, their first recognised international, back in 1995. They had, as we said, that fantastic World Cup in 2008. A decent dig of it in 2000 as well. They certainly pushed England closer in that World Cup, in that quarter-final, than they have done here today.
Yep.
Simon, quicker!
Here's Briscoe.
Interesting selection, Pauser, for Steve McNamara now. Briscoe or Charnley on the wing, and obviously we talked about Loughlin. I think he's done enough to feature again if he's healthy. Burgess comes back in and misses out.
Yeah.
Clear on the right.
Burgess could be second row as well, can't he?
Here's Ryan Hall.
Just get Damien Blanchard, great see you later in the face.
Yeah. Big lad, isn't he? Big lad for the winger, Ryan Hall.
He's a talented lump of a winger as well, isn't he? Here comes Rangi Chase with a kick that forces Mendeka to run again. It rolls out of play, tap back on the 20. So let's hear from one of the Burgess clan. I think we're going to hear from Sam very shortly. Or is it just going to be Tanya? Tanya, what news down there?
Sorry, I can't compete with being a Burgess, but can you give some news on Sean O'Loughlin? It is just a precaution taking him off. Chris Brooks, the England doctor, just saying it's sensible because he hasn't played much, just to give him a breather and see him through the 80 minutes.
And an Achilles injury problem. It's a hard one to get over, isn't it?
Well, I was speaking to him through the week and previously, and he wanted to get himself to a position where he could play and then train fully the following week, which hasn't been the case for him. And let's hope that's the case this week. I think with him in the team and the balance of the team, it makes them a whole lot better and a whole lot more balanced and more of a threat to both Australia and New Zealand, should it pan out that way.
Here comes Liam Finn. Solid defensive moment from Callum Watkins. Liam Finn again. This is Luke Ambler. Halifax these days, Luke Ambler, but another with Super League experience at Salford and Leeds. A kick by Liam Finn, a chase by Sam Topkins.
Unlucky that.
He wanted to go dead, it has gone dead. And a tap back on the 20 here. 17.5 minutes left to play. How important that England ramp it up again now in these final 17.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think they have to know. Like, it's not about the Irish performance, it's about their performance, and you know, they just need to pick it up. Just lost their concentration against Australia a little bit, and they've got to, you know, just build up the tempo, build up the intensity, because they're not going to slack off the big two against them.
Westwood, Australians in action later this evening, by the way, at St Helens, when they play against Fiji. If you fancy going along to watch that game, tough, because it's another sellout. Widdop into the hands of Ferris.
I think that'll be a cracking game later this afternoon.
Remember the game when those two matched up, was it in the semi-finals in the World Cup last year? And Jared Hayne was playing for Fiji, wasn't he? And he smacked Darren Lockyer in one tackle. It was a big win for Australia, but it's a terrific occasion.
It's a good kick, that is.
Mendeka running it back, slipping past one, but not past the next two. So Robbie Hunter-Paul, what are you thinking down on the touchline?
Well, we're talking about how England need to step up their game plan now, but you know, you've got to be, if you look at it from Ireland's point of view, Mark Aston must be pretty happy at the moment, because this Irish defence have tightened up and they've been able to keep England in this half down to only one try scored off a kick. So a lot of, you know, we've got to pay compliment to the hard work that the Irish defence have now stepped up in the second half of this game.
6-0 England in the second half. 36-0 England in the duration of the game.
Well, that's a mistake, silly mistake. I think England got to go back to basics now. Charge it up the middle, and then just get the plays on.
Brian Noble's nodding his head, you agree?
I think it's a case of the dominance was established in the first half by their big blocks going forward. We've seen Graham play that part in the second half, and Hill and Burgess, but not consistently up because there's been space out there. And Robbie's quite right, Ireland have closed down the space a little bit better this second half. England will find more space if they do the tough stuff first by going forward first.
Here's Widdop of the Melbourne Storm. He plays in the middle of a pretty quality spine, doesn't he? Billy Slater at fullback, Cooper Cronk alongside him in the halves, and Cameron Smith, the number 9.
Well, watching Cameron Smith last week, right? You know, he was class. I think he's played standoff for most of the last 20 minutes. He's in total control.
Oh, here's Rangi Chase just avoiding the attempts from Hassan, and left it goes again to Ryan Hall, and Hall back on the inside to Cutjo, and Cutjo breaking free from one, but they're across there, the Irish. They're still battling hard here. Ireland, they don't want to concede anymore. Ferris spinning it to Chase. Chase thought about kicking and then made the Irish think again he was going to kick, and then dropped it off for that big effort. Sinfield. And the effort from Tom Burgess, who's lost the ball.
Yeah. Bit scrappy that. Not the best pass from Sinfield. Lost control. Young Burgess came on the charge. Just got tackled short. Lost the ball as well, didn't he?
He did lose the ball. Got that right, Mr. Ali Bear.
Ireland restoring pride in this second half. Here's Curry, Ben Curry.
Release!
Coach Tony Smith at Warrington has described him as a machine in training Ben Curry, and he is really one that everyone's looking forward to developing over the next few years. He's only 19, isn't he?
Big thing for 19, isn't he?
Ireland looking to blast their way forward here if they can. Up gets Brett White, back it comes again to Luke Ambler, and he manages to get that ball on again, but England's defence is ready for the Tyrone McCarthy effort, and McCarthy's dropped it in the tackle. He has a hard stare at the English players and the referee, but Thierry Alibert has given head and feet to England.
Yeah, what they haven't done lately is just they haven't completed the set and got a good kick in, because you know, we saw Pat Richards' big kick that nearly left the ground. They've just got to get a kick in and make England come from their own goal area, really. They haven't done that, so England have had good attacking opportunities. Such a simple game sometimes, you just got to do the basics very well.
Well, there we see the possession still very dominant in England's favour and the territory in this second half.
Well, really, territory, you know, it should be favouring Ireland in the second half purely because of the conditions.
Here's Rangi Chase. And do you feel that Rangi Chase is settling more into the role of being an England standoff here today?
No, I don't think that's an issue. Are you talking about his nationality or the fact that he's playing with this team regularly?
Roby. Runners are coming here. Widdop to Tompkins. Tompkins skips away. Runs into another.
Callum just overrun him there, unfortunately.
Pat Richards was the man who tried to tackle him, and Rangi Chase is after this! And Rangi Chase certainly got there first. And he certainly put it down. Thierry Alibert points the finger. Rangi had already pointed the finger in celebration. England up to 40 points. Ireland still with zip.
Yeah, very good finish again. The foot race, lovely kick by Tompkins. I thought Tompkins kicked for himself, but Rangi Chase got there. Just watch. Robbie has made the difference. It's coming on. The missed tackle bounces off, and he thinks, right, down the middle, gap opens up, puts a grubber in, but Rangi Chase reads it very well and gets a hand to it.
I think it was a kick for himself. Tompkins, he's closed down on the outside. There you go. I'm going to get there. Rangi thinks, no, you're not. I'll get your kick. And beats Finn to the punch here, and yep, nice score.
And it's good to see a referee making a decision as well, isn't it?
Well,
that's what they're there for.
Yeah, the right one.
Well, they've not always been making them, have they? They've been defaulting to the video referee an awful lot in this competition, but not there. Thierry was adamant.
Yeah, he's having a quiet second half. Would you referee Henry?
It's Widdop who's taking over the kicking duties here for England. I think Cameron Sinfield's off the field, isn't he? Roby's back on the field.
Yeah.
That's why Widdop's taking this.
Under Lachlan, he's back on the field. So that's a good sign for England. It means they're confident with his injury.
So here comes Widdop to add another 2. And England extend their lead to 42 points to 0. Delicious and delightful from an England perspective this afternoon.
Well, and there's no room on the outside, and you don't close Sam Tompkins down, and you let him come back in the middle. Danger, watch out. The kick for himself. Rangi says, no, it's not for yourself, it's for me. Boom.
It's his first try in International Rugby League as well, that Rangi Chase, at the 8th time of asking. And England come again. 10 minutes left to play. And from the boring coach's perspective here, how important to Steve McNamara that nil remains on the scoreboard?
It just seems to be the minute everybody starts to think about nil, something happens, bounce with a ball, and you end up conceding 6. But I think he'll be pretty pleased. A lot of positives in this England effort this afternoon.
Paul Deacon alongside him, of course, the assistant coach. Rangi Chase, Sam Tompkins, Cudjoe, still Cudjoe.
He's just been too strong, hasn't he, Cudjoe?
Yeah, he has caused far too many problems for Littler.
Ablett. Oh, it's not the best of passes for Sam Tompkins.
Yeah.
He made the best of it. Widdop. High and caught in the wind again. It's going to come back to Widdop. Still the 6th tackle, and he tried to kick again out of the tackle, but he can't do so. 0 tackle. Ireland have it back again.
Tried his best to manufacture something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dropped it, kicked it, tried to head ball it.
Oh, here's a chance.
That's good defensive play by Briscoe there, because with the caught on the outside, good Irish attack.
Tyrone McCarthy clattering it in. Pefarangi. 8.5 to go. Ireland desperately looking to eke their way onto this scoreboard if they can. Anthony Mullally.
Yeah, it'd be a big roar if they score.
Kostjason.
Good run, McCarthy, is it?
Last tackle. Ireland 5 yards away. Is this going to be their moment? Liam Finn with a measured kick. Ryan Hall over his head.
Oh.
Blanche can't take it.
Chance was there. Misread the kick, the English centres and wings.
I think in the end Blanche misread it. I think he comes in. Come in for the ball and
oh, chance,
over his head.
Chance.
Here in Huddersfield, you are also part of the largest sporting audience.
Well, the referee here, what's he given? I don't think the referee has given anything yet, has he?
I'm not sure what he has given.
Well, we're waiting here for the video referee to make a decision on the restart here. Not the try, obviously, but what the restart should be. And he's decided in the end, Blanche's last touch behind that dead ball line, and so a tap restart for England. And here's a Lockwood. Hill with the soft hands. Roby, a dummy half. Westwood. Here comes Roby again. England on the roll. Watkins. He's an athlete as well, isn't he? Given half an opportunity. Callum Watkins, a real beast on that right-hand side. Westwood. And England have taken themselves from their own 20 to within 10 metres of the island line. So on the 6, they've got a chance to put a real attacking kick up here. Liam Finn found himself all alone to make that tackle. But he's pushed behind the line, and not a bad set from England.
No
80 yards downfield and forcing the dropout.
Good yardage, very good kick. Didn't compete for the kick, but a great hit. I think it was Cudjoe. And now they got the ball back.
So the Irish looking to take their time with this to get a bit of oxygen back in their lungs, because they know there's another big onslaught coming their way in the 6.5 minutes that remain. It's Widdop on the catch.
He's got a big run up here.
Here he comes. An immense amount of meat coming flying at you. Burgess is put down. Tanya Arnold.
It's Thomas Burgess ploughs forward there. His brother George is on the bench. We said they were working on his knee at half-time. They have what they call modern medicine working on him now. Chris Brooks is saying they've got a machine pumping warm air around his right knee, and hope they'll have him right for next week.
Penalty England, 20 metres out.
I hope so, because that would be a big blow if he's in play.
Roby with a tap, England looking to run it. O'Loughlin now back to Hill, and Hill carrying and forcing and pushing, and Ireland having to retreat almost to their own goal line.
Yeah, a couple of tries just emphasise their superiority now.
Roby, here's Rangi Chase across to Widdop, and Widdop, Tompkins bats it on. Here comes, oh, he's given it as a forward pass.
I'm interested to see this. That's very good play by Pat Richards, though.
I don't think Pat Richards had much choice if he had to come in, did he?
Yeah, but he timed it really well, didn't he?
Today's man of the match has been selected by members of the press.
That went backwards, didn't it? Yeah, that went backwards.
Man of the match is England's
Briscoe denied a hat-trick scoring possibility. Man of the match has just been announced on the PA, voted for the members of the media, and Ryan Hall with his hat-trick is the man who gets the man of the match award.
Play on! Play on!
I think he'd be surprised with that, Ryan Hall, because I don't think he's had to do much to score that hat-trick, has he?
Down! No hands!
Here comes Mullally.
I think it's a reflection of the good team performance for England.
It is,
Nobody's been
definitely.
actually been a standout, have they? Which will please the England coach, and he's put the finishing touches 3 times to some pretty good play.
Pat Richards' kick, he wants to get on with this. He wants to see Ireland get something from this game in terms of a score in the denouement as the daylight begins to disappear. Because Jason, Liam Finn, good to see Liam Finn score. He's been a really outstanding player at Featherstone over the years, the last few years. It's a chance here for Mendeka, who's on his way to Featherstone, just signed a 2-year deal with that club in this last week or so. This now is Peferangi. Pirani Peferangi, if you're wondering about the name, his grandmother's Irish, that's why he's here. Jason. Slowly played. Jason picks it up and throws it back to Liam Finn again. Here comes Brett White, back on despite the shiner. And on tackle 5, he's dragged down, a couple of strides away from glory. Jason spins it out to Liam Finn. Liam Finn with a chip to the corner, and Ryan Hall gets his big arms around that, caught it on the fall, diffuses the bomb, tap back on the 20, and England determined not to give anything away on their defensive line.
Oh, I thought he was away then.
They just haven't quite had the attacking threat up the island. Good shape, there's nothing on the end of their shape, and probably one chance they had was from a Finn kick, wasn't it, with Blanche?
Blanche, yeah. One of those things where they haven't got those strike runners, and maybe a lack of creativity, you know. But they've just been totally out-muscled, outplayed behind.
Here's Roby. Westwood still banging on that Irish door whenever he can, but it remains firmly shut on that occasion. Roby. O'Loughlin. Oh, it's a dangerous pass, and it almost from Cudjoe into his fingertips. It's a little flick off the boot. He was away again. And reputations really have been enhanced by certain English players today, haven't they? Cudjoe being case in point.
He needed that confidence.
Not the most difficult of opposition.
No.
Bigger tasks lay ahead in this World Cup.
Well, none bigger than Fiji next week. It'd be interesting to see how they go against Australia, but they'll offer a different challenge to Fijians for sure.
They'll be physical up front, you know, and they've got some strike runners behind as well. I was very impressed with the arty.
Job done by the English, though. Whatever the circumstances, job very well done, and I'm sure Steve McNamara and his coaching staff will be very happy. Paul Deacon on that coaching staff. Now, he's got a very unhappy international memory of this ground, hasn't he? Played against New Zealand, wasn't it, when he got... Were you the coach that night, Brian?
I was the coach.
It was actually a very, very nasty injury he got. You were concerned about his health for a while after that, weren't you?
Yeah, likened to an accident, an injury you can only receive in a car crash, apparently. His top palate of his face and his jaw dropped down. Was it life-threatening at the time? Yeah.
Was it Matai who caught him? I can't remember. It was a New Zealand centre, wasn't it, I think?
It was Vagana.
Here's McCarthy, Tyrone McCarthy. Penalty island. Second effort in the tackle, I think that was. So 90 seconds, less than that to play. Ireland are going to go for glory here. Kicked a touch by Liam Finn, and they'll have one more set to have a go at this English line. Haven't scored. To be honest, haven't really looked like scoring for most of this game. But is this going to be it? Here comes Brett White. Sturdily forward with the first try. Kostjason, left to Finn. Finn puts it behind to Mendeka. James Mendeka, and they've thrown it away to Tom Briscoe. And England have it back and should now keep it for the rest of this game. Tompkins, one of those idiosyncratic wanderings of his to try and find a hole in that Irish defence, but none showing itself. Briscoe.
That's it, finish it set, and then put a kick into touch, shake hands, get ready for the next game.
The Lachlan across the line. Rangi Chase. Here comes Cudjoe. Here comes Cudjoe on the drive. Running it free. Being chased by a prop forward. James Hassan got back to make the tackle. Good effort by him at this stage of the game.
Great effort.
I'm sure the props club in our studio, Jamie and Earl, will have enjoyed that moment, seeing a prop forward making a tackle like that. But there's the kick, taken by Mendeka. He runs it out of play. That will be the final act of a very, very good English performance here today. Sure, the Irish is not going to give them their biggest test of this competition, but England dismissed any kind of resistance that the Irish were going to put up. They did it quickly, they scored quickly, they established a winning lead well before the half-time hooter had sounded, and they kept the job going right to the end. Yeah,
exceptional first maybe 20-25 minutes by England. You know, they went forward, and their execution and the choice of plays, I think, was very, very good. And that was, you know, they just blew Ireland away, and it was never a contest after the first 25 minutes. And they just, you know, for them now to go on, pick no injuries, hopefully, and build towards Fiji.
And it's a result, to a certain extent, this is an academic reporting of the stats, but it's a result that will almost certainly see England into the quarterfinals, whatever happens against Fiji next week. But they will still want to beat Fiji next week because they want to finish second at the very least in this group. Here's Tanya Arnold.
Steve, a very comfortable scoreline for you. How do you assess your team's performance though across that 80 minutes?
Yeah, we did okay. You know, we found some real rhythm in the first half. You know, had a lot of possession and made the most of it.
Difficult conditions in that second half as well didn't help your guys.
Yeah, I think it was good to get a good lead, wasn't it, in the first half, and you know the wind came howling in and the rain came pouring down the second half. So yeah, we're relatively happy.
Tom Briscoe certainly took his charge. Got a few selection headaches for next week.
Yeah, without doubt.
So, building towards next week, what will you be talking to the guys about looking ahead to that Fiji game?
Oh, we've got plenty. You know, it's just a normal review of the game, and we'll crack on with that as the weekend unfolds and get ready for a tough game against Fiji next week.
But you're happy that they built on the performance from last week?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Steve, thanks very much. Ryan, congratulations on a man-of-the-match performance. How do you assess your performance out there?
Sorry, say that again.
How do you make of your performance out there?
Yeah, reasonably happy with it. We got the job done. That was number one aim. We've got to put some points on the board as well, which is very pleasing to do.
You always say that you get the glory role, don't you? You're scoring off the back of the team's hard work.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of them tries, scored 3 today, and I think I wouldn't have scored any of them if it weren't for my teamates.
What did you make of Ireland in that second half? Because they gave you a bit of a tougher time, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. We only scored 12 points in the second half, and they really made it tough. They made it a classic World Cup game, which is great to see. Hopefully, we please all the fans here.
Thanks very much. Well done on your man-of-the-match performance. Let's bring in Mark Aston, the Ireland coach. Let's hope we don't blow away. Mark, a tough first half for your guys there.
Oh yeah, we've got a bit of education on how to play a game of rugby league, but immensely proud of what the boys have put out there in the second half, and they didn't collapse. So we've got something to build on, and it's a process that we're working over the next few years to get where we want to get to.
You're a bit disappointed maybe with a few of the errors in the first half, that you made it a little bit too easy for them perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team when they play with loads of ball out there, so you've got to keep it off them, and we didn't. We had many mistakes and a few penalties away, so we'll dust ourselves down. Now we've got another challenge, haven't we, next Saturday against Australia.
Yeah, nice easy one for you.
Gets better, doesn't it?
Mark, thanks for your time.
Thank you.